DBSCG things.
What's up, you guys? My name is Taxon and welcome back to Yuhp, DBSCG things. And today we're bringing you another very exciting deck profile, guys. This is going to be a deck that I've seen prowling around and doing pretty well at my last local. This is OG Rollie. But before we get into it, guys, I do want to say if you want any custom mats and or sleeves, absolutely check out Pro Mats, guys. Best place to go get your custom card needs. Link will be in the description below for you guys to go check them out. And also, as you can see on the screen now, they are holding a monthly tournament via Discord at the second weekend of every single month with some great prizing here. You can come win some Pro Mat mats, TCG medal leaders, and also some booster boxes. So make sure that if this is something you're interested in, you use the links in the description below to go to this Discord and join it. With that being said, guys, if you guys enjoyed this deck or my content in general, make sure you guys smash all those buttons for me. Like, comment, and subscribe. Hit that bell so you're notified every single time I upload a video. And with that being said, let's spin this around and dive in. Alrighty, you guys, and here we are with our third place Rollie deck profile. This is set 1 Rollie. So I'm very excited to see this. I'm glad I got to get the opportunity to catch this profile. So go ahead and tell us about some of your choices in your deck today, and then afterwards we'll go over your matchups.
Yeah, so last week I was playing green Beerus, and that exactly didn't go the way I wanted. So I was like, you know what? What's a good green deck that's still pretty strong? I was like, set 1 Broly's really good. And, of course, running the Collector's Edition one. Still super powerful, just be able to constantly clear battle cards pretty much for free, especially because almost every deck runs a Unison. I can swing at that for free, and my opponent just minuses to a battle card and a card in hand. It's always so much fun to hit people with that. Run 4 of the 1-drop Rollie, so I can search either any of my big 6 drops that I would play off the field spell, or any of the 8 drops that would play the field spell. Which
one of my favorite turn ones in this deck, so I can make sure I have that to discard.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun until it's turn 4 and it you haven't seen it yet.
Oh wow.
Yeah, that happened one game. We've of course got the father, Paragus the Sacrifice.
Yep. And this card in tandem with your field spell is just nutty.
It's just free draws every single turn. And if you're using the secret rare that I ran, getting your life down when you need to is really good. So yeah, Paragus is always a good 4 of. Apparently only running 3 of these Zarbons, which I don't think ever came up actually playing him as a blocker. He was always just fodder for discarding, but it is nice to know that he's there in case I need
discarding something you could at least use from the graveyard.
Yeah, at least I have him there if I need him.
Would you make any changes to the ratio on that? You said he didn't come up much.
No, I'd probably keep him at 3. It's just good. It's good if he's there, but I don't need him there. So 4 would definitely be too many.
Gotcha.
I'm only running 2 of the Majin Buu negate, which did actually pretty much win me my game against Mekiabura in the last round. He completely stopped his turn. He had only 1 card in hand, so he's like, cool, I can't actually attack at all. So always like having him at least 2 or 3, but 2 seems like it's a good enough. Surprisingly, going through the deck, I only run 2 rebrands, which I probably would, if I was to make any changes, I would probably take 1 Zarbon out and put a 3rd rebrand, just so having the -2 or having the discarding 2 is always good.
Rebrand just having such a powerful, uninteractable skill, it's just way better than Zarbon in my opinion. So yeah, I see what you're saying. Having 3 of that and 2 Zarbon's a smart idea.
Yeah, the amount of times where it's just like, pay 2 rebrand, they're like, yep, of course. I guess I'll just lose 2. I run 3 charismatic villains. I've never usually liked running Freeze at 4. It just feels like most of the time I get him early game before I get a Unison out or something, and I'm like, okay, I can't play this. So having it at 3 has always been what I like. All these free counterplays has different ratios for me. But Freeze has always been good, and it's always nice to interrupt either an early game play that would set him up or an end game play that would win him the game. The 1 of Triple Strike Rollie, which came up 1 time today, and it won me the game. So, and that was against that same Mekiabura deck.
Yeah, so that's very strong. And you are cheating these guys off with your field spell.
Yes, I'm playing them for 3 instead of 6.
That's so strong.
It is. I will admit I top decked this, and I was like, oh, I think I win. And he's like, yeah, I have no cards and 3 life. We are running, of course, 4 Broly the Rampaging Horror, the 1 SPR I got. Playing this for 3 and just being able to randomly pick 2 cards out of your opponent's hand is so much better than giving them the choice of what to discard. One of my games was against the Wish Zamasu, and the 2 cards I picked out was one of the super combos and one of the Mecha Frieza counters. And I was like, that is a very good 2 cards to hit out of that.
Yeah, that's really strong. That right there is a great way to show the difference between your opponent discarding and you choosing, because your opponent would never choose a super combo. Your opponent would never choose their flood negates. So
absolutely.
Very, very powerful.
It's definitely a lot more powerful to be able to just randomly pick stuff. We are running 4 of the SS3 Rollie, Saiyan Berserker. This has 2 purposes for the deck. You discard it off your front leader swing, and it just immediately plays your field spell from deck. Very powerful. And if it's later in the game, you can play him for 4. Pretty much, you just have to get rid of your field spell, and you can play any of the 6 drops that are in your hand for free once he comes out. So it gives you a 35k single attacker and a discard 2 and a double striker, or even a triple striker if that's the one that's in your hand. And usually, you know, if I've already used them, I use them as energy or discard fodder, anything like that. They're usually never a brick, usually at least. I am playing one of the Majin Buu 5-drop. This is simply because looking at Zamasu, having all those indestructibles, I have no way to get rid of them. My leader can't get rid of them. My Unison that you'll see later can't get rid of them. None of my cards get rid of them. This negates all of their skills and still sends them to the drop area. So if I know I'm going to lose against Zamasu because of all the indestructibles, this outs the indestructibles.
Zamasu's not that bad.
I know. But that's pretty much why he's in there as a 1-0. Super combos, of course, we play. Of course, we play the, in my opinion, probably the best green super combo. The draw 2 and then warp 1 is very powerful, unless you're me and you draw Unison cards off of it.
It's very strong in this deck as well, because I don't know if you mentioned earlier, but this deck self-awakens itself so fast.
Oh, yeah.
Like, if you really wanted to, I believe you can awaken yourself on your turn 2. It's that crazy. You swing with your leader, you'll pitch that one guy. That effect, when it plays a field, will take you 2, and then all you gotta do is, like, that field takes another life. So as long as your opponent swing with their leader on their first turn, you're taking 3 of your own life on your second and awakening.
Oh, yeah.
So going down to 4 turns that on immediately. I like that as an option in this deck.
This leader for sure wants to awaken as fast as possible, because then it's at its full power. It's 15k, all of its skills go off. And then, of course, these are live immediately. To help with self-awakenings, I also do I still run 4 of the Demigra Unison. Because if my turn 1 isn't going to be or I guess my ideal turn 1 is the first turn I can attack. I swing, I can discard the Broly, the field spell comes out, and then this comes out for 1 energy. Goes up to 2 markers, and then if they attack it, I can self-awaken myself, and if they don't attack it, it just builds markers and it can get rid of stuff until my favorite Unison in this deck comes out, which is, of course, the Dark Rollie Unison, which is pretty much just another copy of my leader. Comes out for 3, plus 2, he's a 5 marker, 20k. The moment he comes out, he's pretty much going to stay there for the rest of the game. No one's getting rid of him. And the ability to pitch any card you want, make your opponent pitch 1, and they have to remove one of their battle cards from the battle area is very strong. I know there's a combo with the green Deborah. There's a green Deborah card that when you discard it, it minuses a marker, and that would trigger that. I was told about that yesterday, so I did not have time to grab them and put that in, so I'll probably do tests with that later. But this is probably my favorite Unison in the game, but that's just my opinion. I really like this Unison.
You heavily play green, so I understand why that's your favorite.
Yeah, I never realized how much I played green. I am running this bad boy as my secret rare. The thing is, he did not come up once. In fact, I've discarded him and charged him more because trying to focus on getting him out is just going to lose me the game. And after I looked at my deck some more, I found out the only target in my deck that can trigger his skill is this 8-drop Broly. So I honestly would probably swap him out with Wicked Saiyans if I was to switch to a different secret rare.
That's honestly a great choice.
Yeah, Wicked Saiyans being played, and it makes your opponent drop 2. When it's like the moment it comes out, it seems a lot better.
The dual attack block. Yeah, that card's just good. That card's really good.
Yeah, this card.
I see.
Yeah,
this takes a lot of setup.
It does.
And then, like you just pointed out, you have to pay 4 for the boss monster that even triggers this card.
Yeah.
Whereas the Wicked Saiyans you're speaking of is a 2 energy investment and only takes itself to get the skills. You know what I'm saying? So it's not like you're going off of 3 different pieces to make it work.
Yeah.
You're just going off of this is the card, this is what it does.
Yeah. This is definitely a lot better for the Broly BR deck. Especially because that leader can refill its hand. If I play this, my hand is gone. I have to win with this, or I probably lose next turn because I have no defense. So into extra cards, I actually surprisingly I only run 3 of our friend Demonic Restraint, which is just of course the better Broly's Ring. It gets discarded or sent from field. It just plays itself. You take 1 or I think it's 1 or 2 life.
I think this one's 1.
It's 1. Yeah, the 8-drop is 1 or 2. So this takes 1 life if you want every time. So if you're trying to do this play, you can get down to 1 life pretty easily. But the fact that it makes it so you don't have to discard and it's a target for removing from battle area is it just makes your leader 100%. There's no negatives to your leader when this card is out.
So you draw, your opponent discards and pops.
Yeah, it's so strong. I'm so happy this card exists.
Yeah, they actually put a name back on the map for this deck.
It did. I am running
Very glad.
3 Shocking Death Balls. Having Sparking Negates is really useful. I discard my own cards quite a bit as well, so getting to Sparking 5 is not too bad. And being able to get rid of any troublesome 2-drops is also a plus in my book.
Which is actually growing more and more relevant as the game progresses, because now there's a whole bunch of 1-drops in this game that have a very high skill, like a very powerful skill. Like per se the 1-drop from the Gohan deck, that's something you want to get rid of immediately to prevent your opponent from getting more value. You got things like the Basil, you definitely want to get rid of that when you're versing yellow. You got True Fighting Spirit cards like that as well from black. So in my opinion, yeah, there's a ton of 2 cost or less cards that Shocking Death Ball hits and actually saves you from giving your opponent an advantage.
Yeah, so Shocking Death Ball is always a good card in green decks. So I only own 1 Cell's Kamehameha, or at least
it's the drip version.
Yeah. So I had to figure out a replacement for Cell's Kamehameha. So I also added in the Realm of Gods, Champa Destroys, which is pretty much the same thing, but on your opponent's turn, you get 15k power, and they have to discard 1 card. So it's a little bit worse because I don't think I get to choose with this one. No, they get to choose with this one. I get to choose with this one. So I don't think I ever got Champa off. I think I used to miss energy, but I have gotten this off, and this still feels good, especially when your opponent only has 1 card, and they're like, well, I don't get a choice in the matter. It's 1 card. But if I would definitely replace these 2 with 2 more of this if I had them.
If you had room, would you do a split of both of them, or just sell?
I definitely have room. I probably could. I probably would do maybe 3 cells and 2 of these. But I probably wouldn't.
This still seems like a good card, but this has a lot more value to it.
Yeah.
I understand exactly.
Yeah.
But I like this for the removal aspect. So if it's your turn and you have a card that you just want to get rid of right away, 1 energy, get rid of it, fantastic. This will always be the same thing. This has options.
Yeah, this is 2 different options.
I like that.
Yeah, I definitely enjoy that Champa Destroys card. Weirdly, I guess I run 1 Homicidal Clones, which came up twice.
Wow. You're 1 up in 2 of your 4 games?
Yeah, which is crazy to me. I could have swore I had it at 2, but it might be in one of my other green decks at the moment. But yeah, Homicidal Clones is always good. You're at 4 life and they go to swing at you, or 5 life go swing at you. You can be like, cool, thanks, I'm now awakened. I draw 2, and now my deck is pretty much at its full power. And Homicidal Clones being a blocker is always good. And then, of course, I run 4 of Dormant. Because early game, I will self-awaken myself. I do not need my opponent to rush me down. I have to slow the game down whenever I can. But for sure, I always run either 3 or 4 Dormants.
Exactly. And like you were pointing out earlier, you main this card at 4 still.
Yeah.
And of course, if you're versing aggro, you board this turn 1, and then you have this live. So Gogeta Xeno ain't gonna kill you on their turn 2 when you're only at turn 1.
Or U7.
Yeah, or U7.
U7.
That's a thing now too.
Man, playing against U7 is crazy. It's like, is it my turn 2? You always 3 battle cards that just can destroy you. It's like, my goodness.
Here's a dual attacker.
Yeah.
Here's a double striker. Oh, by the way, these are killing your cards in the process. Here's this.
Yeah, my god, that U7 deck is nuts.
Alrighty, man. Go ahead and tell us about some of your matchups today.
So, not salty about it, but I am makes me laugh that the one deck I lost to was Champa, Green Champa. Because I misplayed and 100% just forgot to put down energy on turn 3, and I went, that's not going to bite me in the ass later. Yes, it did. I did not have the energy for combo power, and I probably would have been able to out-combo it and then win the next turn, but I did end up losing. That was a fun match, though. Match 2 was against Zamasu, the Witch Zamasu deck. That ended up being at the very end. He had one card in hand, and I had one double striker left. And it was basically just hoping he didn't have a negate. Swung with double strike, comboed up to 60, and all he had was the double strike Champa. So I was able to take that down. That was a really slow, grindy match because with Zamasu being able to play stuff from Warp, him having a low hand doesn't hurt too much. It also does slow me down because it's like, oh, I'll pay 1. Here's Goku Black. Your 1 energy you're keeping open, that's now gone. It's like, okay, well now my defensive turn's a lot weaker.
Yeah, absolutely. Being able to tap out your energy during your turn actually does put a slow road to your game plan, and then also stop a lot of your defenses. Because having Cell's Kamehameha and Champa's defensive options that I can't use anymore does hurt a lot. Yeah, and then they're just dead in hand.
Game 3 was probably the most intense because it was this versus Controlly. And
Burly face-off.
Yeah, that was a long game because even though I kept discarding his hand, that deck being able to, like, cool, pitch, draw 2, Unison, top 5, add 1, he just keeps adding and adding and adding back. But it eventually got down to I won via a top deck because I went, all right, swing. He took the damage. He went to 2 damage. I drew for my leader, and I drew the double strike, make him discard 2, and I still had 3 energy open, so I was able to play him off my field spell. He lost both cards, and then I swung for a game. So it was 100% of top decks. And then game 4 was against Mekibura, which that was fun, and also one off of a top deck because he had 1 card in. He was at 4 life, took the 1 damage. I look and I went, oh wait. Because I went, I'm going to combo Rebrand. He goes, okay, I'll take that 1 damage. I'm like, cool. I'm at 5, pay 2, Rebrand. He's at 0 cards in hand. Pay 3, play the triple strike Rollie 1 of, swing at your last 3. He has no cards in hand to combo.
Wow.
It was 100% top decking a 1 of.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that game was a lot of fun. But I definitely am glad I brought this because I always loved Set 1 Broly. I played Set 1 Broly when Set 1 came out, when you had to pay 5 for your 6 drops at least. But I will always I love green, even though it's not exactly the strongest at the moment.
Right now.
Bandai's been mean to it for the past 2 sets.
Yeah, but the fact that with Cell Surge getting hit, this is probably the only.
After all of that, of them being mean the last 2 sets, it took you all the way back to set 1 to find out this is still one of the best green decks.
It is. This Broly I still think is one of the strongest green decks, and it's definitely the strongest hand control deck probably.
Yeah, in terms of hand control strategy in general, I would definitely say that. I still have this deck built. I love this deck. Just like you said, it's one of my favorite decks. Me in general, I'm just a Broly fan, so I literally have a Broly build for every Broly leader that's ever been out.
Yeah.
And of course, this is just part of it.
Yeah.
It's still one of my favorite hand destruction decks. I feel you 100% on that.
Yeah.
It's just a very, very nasty deck.
Broly decks are, even if the Broly decks come out aren't good, they're at least always fun. They at least have an interesting mechanic to them.
Absolutely. So with that being said, man, do you have any final shout-outs before we go here?
I guess I'll shout out all my friends that come out to our locals every Sunday. I'll shout out you guys. It's always fun to play with you guys. And I'm happy that this is my first deck profile I get to show off.
Hey, well, thanks for showing it to us, guys. So with that being said, guys, that was the deck profile. If you guys enjoyed this profile or my content in general, make sure you smash all those buttons for me. Like, comment, and subscribe. Hit that bell so you're notified every single time I upload a video. And with that being said, we will see you guys next week.
Later.